We're touring one of the most open concept plans that you can build on a 60-foot wide lot outside of Austin, Texas. Stick with me for a great home tour. Now, this is the 3399 plan built by Perry Homes. Now, there's an upgrade in this plan that you're going to see in this model home that adds square footage to the plan to the point where we're actually over 3,600 square feet. This is a 5-bedroom, 4.5 bathroom home. And what I'm going to keep showing you throughout this video is we got tall ceilings, and you see that right when we get in through the front door. And like usual, we're going to go right out to the main living area. Now, a few years ago, one of my clients who reached out to me through YouTube was visiting from California and saw this floor plan while here in the Austin, Texas metro, and they absolutely fell in love with it. They ended up building it from scratch in a neighboring suburb called Leander, Texas. And so I'm going to walk you through this plan and tell you exactly what they saw that they loved that made them want to build it from scratch. And I think you're seeing some of that right here in the main living area, where we got windows everywhere. We got design like that fireplace, that the sliding glass doors. There's a golf putting green in the backyard. There's so much to see here, and I'm going to walk you through it in full detail. Now, we are in a community called Santa Rita Ranch here in Liberty, Texas. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Santa Rita Ranch, the multiple sections that are in this community, and why it's the top-selling community in the Austin, Texas metro. Now, starting here in the kitchen, what my clients tell me they love about kitchens with Perry is the different design upgrade options that they can do. For example, Perry Homes usually has a lot more designer vent hood options at the design studio, and above this 5-burner gas stovetop, you see a dark backsplash. And as we turn around and look at the countertop on the kitchen island, you're going to see a lot of movement in that kitchen island, and I think that backsplash pulls out all the dark touches in that kitchen countertop. And this is the fun that people love having at the design studio, where you see a good contrast of color right here in the kitchen. You see some light colors, but you also see some dark colors. Like, notice the faucets dark, some of the veins running through that kitchen countertop are dark, and the pendant lights above the kitchen are dark. And that contrasting color seems to really pop in these plans with Perry. Also, the window frames, which is a signature with Perry of having bigger windows and that frame being dark. There's so many fun things that I think you can do in this home that people absolutely love about their Perry home when they build from scratch. But one thing I gotta say, I don't know if I love here is the glass insert in the door in the pantry. Is it just me, or does that terrify you? Because I gotta tell you, I think it's on me, in my household at least, when I put things away in the pantry, I tend to just shove it in there. I feel bad for admitting that, because I know that does my wife a disservice. I don't know. I know she is much more organized than I am. But when it comes to food, and I'm like trying to get food around the house, I just quickly grab food and throw it back in there. And so I would never do a glass insert in the pantry door. Let me know if you're good with that. But let me know also if you're good with this amazing spiral staircase with the circular ceiling design. It just adds a great design touch in this living room. We'll cover the fireplace, we'll cover the other items of this living room, but I want to get outside because there's a lot to cover here. For example, we do have lots that are available in a new section that just opened up recently at the time I'm recording this video that has amazing views and luxury homes coming up. So if you're curious what lots you can build this plan on, I'm going to show you one of those in about a minute. But you got to take in some of this backyard. So there's some really cool things that are happening here. Like, we got a pergola with a fireplace, very cool touch here. We got a putting green we're gonna get to, and wait till you see that lot again. It's got an amazing view of Liberty Hill, Texas. But first, we got to take a seat here, and I'll tell you why in a second. I forgot to actually introduce myself. My name is Raj Sahu. I'm a realtor in Austin, Texas, and I've represented clients with 21 different builders, including Perry Homes, many times over, and 98% of my clients actually reach out to me through YouTube. And if you're watching this, you're looking at this backyard, you want to enjoy more time outdoors, that's what I want for you, because I've had hundreds and hundreds of people reach out to me over the last 4.5 years, and it's because I keep showing homes that have incredible backyards and views like this. Hey, real quick, this is one of the lots that has an amazing view that you can build plans like the 3399 plan on in the newest section here in Santa Rita Ranch called El Dorado. Now, this is the 70-foot wide section with Perry Homes. They also have 60-foot wide lots And then they do have a luxury builder that's going to be building around 1,000 homes with Perry right in this new section. And I love coming out to these areas that will have a lot of forever homes for all the reasons that I'm mentioning in this video. But forget that for a second. Take a look at this view that's here. A lot of people thought Liberty Hill, the middle of Texas, this is all just flat. It's not. You can see for miles. You can even see the new high school that's being built out there called Legacy Ranch. So many things going on here in Liberty Hill, especially right here in Santa Rita Ranch. If you want details on it and you want to know what your best options look like, go ahead and scan the QR code that's on the left side of your screen, and that starts a text message. All you got to do is click send, and that goes to my cell phone, and my team and I will connect with you and figure out what your best options are in an unbiased way. Again, we don't work for any of these builders. We work for you, and we try to get the best options. And the best options is knowing the pros and the cons of everything that you see here. And most importantly, if you like views, you like greenery, we are constantly touring lots that are coming up in the future. So stick with me. Back to the video. Getting back to the backyard here, let me know what you think about this. I think this gives you the full perspective of what this backyard looks like, with that pergola on the right, this miniature golf course in the back with turf. And even though they just did this for fun and it keeps people at the model home, I think there's some really cool elements of this backyard that you can incorporate in your home if you have the right backyard. And when I say the right backyard, I'm going to talk about the right backyard for some of my clients, because some of them want amazing views off their backyard. Some of them, like one of my clients here in Santa Rita Ranch, they really wanted a backyard for a big pool, and they got a cul-de-sac lot, and they built on a 60-foot wide lot, and their backyard is massive. Now, what I wanted to show you here is even in this breakfast nook area, which by the way has a 6-seater table, it feels like it's a part of the outdoor area, just because take a look at these windows, take a look at how large these windows are, how much they go down to the floor, all the way up to the ceiling, and that's what I think Perry does really well. But it's really the open concept plan. That's what people tell me they absolutely have to have in their home. And that's why I think this plan, the 3399 plan, with some upgrades to get a little bit more square footage in it, is an ideal plan if you want that forever home while still getting the rooms that you want in your home to make it feel private. Now, the cool part about open concept homes is my clients love doing things like this. So TV up on the wall, I want it actually playing so you get a good feel of what it's like to be in this living room. But they can also do really fun design pieces, like take a look at this fireplace with a mantle, perfect for, that's a huge piece of artwork. But I love the tile running all the way up to the ceiling. I've had my clients do tile vertically where the veins run all the way up. So it forces your eyes to look up as soon as you get out to this main living area. And I get so many people that come out to this main living area. They stop right around here at this pillar. They look to their right. They see all the upgrades in the kitchen. They look to the left. They see that beautiful fireplace tile. And then their eyes go right outside to amazing views, if they have them, through those sliding glass doors. Now look, if you don't have views, because you don't always have to get them, in communities like this where they are building 10,000 homes, not everybody's gonna get a view, right? You're gonna have a lot of interior lots. And while we get into the primary bedroom, one thing I wanna explain is, I have a client who just closed on a new build that was an interior lot, and they planted landscaping right away. And what's interesting is in that community, one of their neighbors planted landscaping about 2.5 years ago. And that landscaping has already grown in. You can still see the neighbors in the back, but you get a ton more privacy. Now, I know there's a lot of engineers watching my channel, a lot of analytical people like me, so I'll just say the percentage that we came up with is about 70 to 80%. It feels like that landscaping blocks the neighbors. And that 70 to 80% sometimes is all you need to give that feeling of privacy in your backyard so that you can enjoy it. You can put a pergola back there. You can spend time back there without feeling like you're right on top of your neighbors. Now, getting back into the plan, you saw a primary bedroom with a epic light fixture, and then the design continues to hit here in the primary bathroom where they did a freestanding tub. They matched the tile around that tub that's on the floor
I've had people close with Perry. Like I had somebody do a 3917 plan, and the freestanding tub, they did a different backsplash around here just so it was a different accent for that freestanding tub. But that 3917 plan, which I do have a video walkthrough of, that plan has a primary bathroom that the freestanding tub is really the focal point. Like you enter and it's a freestanding tub right in the middle, and then both vanities are on either side. Now that's a much higher square footage plan. My client also built in the 90-foot wide section. And keep in mind, if you're liking the idea of getting a higher square footage plan, I got one that's going to be well over 4,000 square feet coming up here after this home tour that is in the 90-foot wide section. And if you want huge backyards, you want luxury homes, you want something that is top of the line with Perry, wait until you see that 90-foot wide section. I will show it to you later, and I've had multiple clients close in that section. Now, moving on here, we do have the primary closet. And one thing that I like that they did, and one thing that I wish people would do from a design standpoint. First off, one thing I like that they did a door to the laundry. I'm actually getting this a lot, especially as I become a little bit more middle-aged, and carrying my laundry basket around my house is not that much fun. I like having this doorway there. It's perfect access to your laundry, so you don't have to lug your dirty laundry throughout your home. But what I wish they would do from a design standpoint is, you see the tile, how it kind of runs right into the closet as soon as you enter the primary bathroom. I like when people run the tile through the closet. Just because depending on the tile that you use, it's usually not incredibly expensive. And from a aesthetic visual standpoint, it makes this primary bathroom feel that much larger. And I think that comes back to at future resale when you enter this room and it just keeps going with the same consistent flooring into the closet. Now, the obvious con of that is some people don't like exiting the shower and getting right into their closet and they're still hitting tile, right? If you don't like that feeling, I totally get it. Then obviously just do carpet. I think a lot of people do carpet, but I think aesthetically, I've had a lot of people get wowed by primary bathrooms that have that tile running in there. Okay, now I know my camera is not taking in the lighting here as well, so I'll kind of get off of that light. But the accent wall here is fantastic. And this plan, I think, is for a lot of people that do value having that dining room, but they don't want it to feel like its own separate dedicated dining. A lot of people say dedicated dining, when it's a separate room, they never use it, right? They want that area to feel open to the living room, so it feels like it's a part of the same space. The problem with that is when I get people that have the dining room right over there where the breakfast nook is, then they say the opposite. They say, well, this dining room feels like it's not any separate space. Like it's right along the living room. And so I think that's the combination that most people are striving to have, which is it's its own unique space, but it still feels open to the living room. Does that make sense? Let me know what you think about that. I think that really hits for a lot of people that want the in-between. That's what I would call it. They want it still a part of the main living area, but they want it to be its own unique space. And I think that plan does it really well. Now, also, we have a study here. It's got double doors going out to the main living area. The windows usually change based on the elevation in these plans, which is the exterior aesthetic. And but I think you have some great lighting coming in from the windows there. Everything feels very open. We're back at the front door, and what I don't want you to miss is the powder bathroom option that they did in this model, which I think is smart. What it does is it adds a half bathroom right here, and then the secondary bedroom, which we're gonna head to in a second, that makes the bathroom in there become in-suite. So in-suite full bathroom right there. We got access to that same utility room, which is accessible from the primary closet, which you saw there. And now this secondary bedroom has a bathroom that becomes in-suite. And I'm finding this is very important for some of my clients, for some people who say, you know, they have parents not just visiting for a weekend, sometimes it's weeks, sometimes it's months, and they don't want to put them upstairs. Even if they have parents who are healthy and walking around, you know, one day if they have to keep them on the first floor, or sometimes parents, especially when they're around their grandkids, they love their grandkids, but they don't want to be upstairs kind of tiptoeing around, hoping that they don't wake up the grandkids. So sometimes they just want to have their own separate space. And that's why I find having the second bedroom down with an in-suite full bathroom has become very important. And that's why good builders like Perry are offering different options like this. So you don't necessarily have to get it, but I would say for future resale in a lot of cases, and for most buyers in this current market, they want something like this, in-suite full bathroom, for the exact reason of what I just mentioned. Okay, we're gonna head upstairs here in a second. Wait until you see the game room, media room. They also did another bedroom, full bathroom option up there, which I've seen this model home many times, but I haven't ever seen that option. And I think for some of my clients, they really value that fifth bedroom option. I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you what two of my clients did after closing that I think is really important in that fifth bedroom. But as we get upstairs, you got to take in, I'm going to keep going back to it, the open concept plan. Because what I think is unique about this plan is the entire living room and even the space around the living room is all open to the second story. And when you get to that living room, you walk out to the sliding glass doors, you can't help but take in this curved staircase with the circular ceiling design. So many cool things in this plan that just accent the ceiling height in so many locations. And then I like that also those windows really capture a view if you have it on a lot like I showed you previously. And so these are the things that I'm constantly eyeing up when looking at these floor plans. And especially when I have clients that tell me they want a beautiful view off their backyard and they want open concept homes, they want a lot of functionality in their homes. That's why I'm touring many plans with Perry Homes. Now let me know what you think about this game room loft area. I think it's fantastic how it's still open to the rest of the main living area. Most people tell me they still want a private space upstairs that people can hang out. And that's what the media rooms become. It used to be like a luxury option. I would say pre-pandemic or beginning of pandemic, it was something that you had to pay to add to some of these plans. I would say a lot of the good builders are starting to add the media room. It's just included, just because everybody's adding it. And so they don't want to play that game of you have to add all these things just so they can advertise like a low base price. And I think Perry does that fairly well. I'm not going to say they do that on every plan because they have a lot of plans, but I will tell you Perry does tend to include a lot more than some of these other builders that might look like they have significantly better pricing. But when you actually go through the process of adding all these upgrades, then all of a sudden, it starts to look more like a game of just, what do we need to add to make the home actually feel like some of these homes that we're seeing as a model. All right, so we got a couple more bedrooms over here. And while I go through this, let me cover some of the sections that are here in Santa Rita Ranch and just give you a high level overview of what I'm seeing here, because I've had 10 plus clients close a year in this community, and many have bought their forever home like on a 60, 70, or 90 foot wide lot, meaning they're buying usually 3,000 to 5,000 square foot homes. They're planning on staying in those homes long term. And what I found is when we were looking often, there were just only 3 sections. There is a new section that I've talked about before. I actually showed you one of those lots that's amazing out there, but I want to cover these 3 sections. The first is Santa Rita Ranch South. Now, Santa Rita Ranch South, I've never had anybody close in Santa Rita Ranch South. It did have an elementary school. It was one of the first sections that started in Santa Rita. The only tough part I would say about Santa Rita Ranch South is most of the builds, that the highest lot size was usually 60 foot wide lots. There is an estate section that's a little bit different, but most of the high square footage plans were 60 foot wide lots. And the tough part about any lots that are less than that, like 45 foot wide lots, is a lot of those become rentals over time. And so I always try to focus in on sections that will have a lot more forever homes. Even if you're buying in a 45 foot wide lot, I try to find those options where you're around higher square footage plans, simply because the price to rent ratio for those higher square footage plans does not make any sense for investors. And you don't want to be in a neighborhood where investors buy everything. Those don't tend to do well over time, and it's not as livable when the community feels a little bit more transitory. And that's changing. So there is a section that I'll talk about here in a second that's coming up close to Santa Rita Ranch South. Santa Rita Ranch North was good. It had some 90-foot wide sections, 70-foot wide sections, so a lot of forever homes being built there. The only tough part is most of it was Georgetown ISD compared to what I think most people prefer, which is Liberty Hill ISD. And by the way, this is that 5th bedroom in-suite full bathroom option. I think it's fantastic. And the simple reason why is you could make it into like a play space or like a workspace area like this. And then if you need this as a bedroom for when guests visit, just put a wall bed right there. Wall bed, or you might call it Murphy bed. It's the same type of thing. Murphy bed's actually the brand. Wall bed is what most people I think talk about, because if it's not Murphy, then you don't want to get sued. I actually just found this out, as a lot of my clients have put this in their 5th bedroom so they can make this a more functional space even when guests are not visiting. Because the worst thing you do is you put a bed in here and nobody stays in here. It's a waste of money, right? It's a waste of utility costs. You're paying taxes on that square footage. All the things, it feels like a waste, right? And so I've had a lot of people do the wall bed now, and I think it's great for those spaces. Okay, getting to the in-suite full bathroom here, what I want to go back to are the sections. Now, the one part about Santa Rita Ranch North is the south part of the section was Liberty Hill ISD, and now they finally extended a road that goes from the Homestead section to Santa Rita Ranch North. And so what you're seeing is these sections get connected. And that's what leads me to really the Homestead section that I think a lot of people want to be in. It's got a ton of forever home product, and I'm so glad to see Perry is in that Homestead section. I'm also glad that Perry bought land close by to Santa Rita Ranch, and instead of trying to make their own community, they decided to annex it into Santa Rita Ranch and split those homes with another luxury home buyer. And that's why I like that section called El Dorado, which we're gonna talk about here in a second. But I wanna show you a 90-foot wide lot that's in this Homestead section and what you can build in the Homestead collection. Let's get to it. Now, this is the 4198 plan. It's built by Perry Homes, and the name of the plan is also the approximate square footage. This home has 5 bedrooms, 4.5 bathrooms, a 3-car garage. It's got a front courtyard. It's got a media room upstairs. If you build it from scratch, there is an upgrade that you can do upstairs that I think would look so good, especially on some of the lots that are available in this 90-foot wide section of Santa Rita Ranch that you can build your dream home on, and that my clients have built their dream home on. They've reached out to me through YouTube after I showed them homes that were built by Perry. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit later where I got those homes, because not many people knew about these types of homes Perry could build. And I had to go to a different city to find them. But now that it's built in the community, I love showing these homes because, well, you can see exactly why. This is a larger version of what we just saw previously, where it's open concept. It's got sliding glass doors off the back wall. It's got a bigger backyard, and it's got so many upgrades I'm gonna cover throughout this home tour. Now, we're gonna start right here in the kitchen, and I'm gonna talk about pricing here in a second, because the previous home that we saw was not for sale. It's a model home, so it's for representation purposes only, but you can build that plan, and you can also, it's for sale in the neighborhood, not that exact model home. But first I wanna show you this kitchen and show you the kitchen countertops have some great movement in it. And I think what they did on the exterior is they did light countertops just so the backsplash could bring out the color that's in that kitchen island countertop. Now, I think what Perry does really well are these designer vent hoods. I've had people do a full build out on the designer vent hood. Some people like it modern, like it's squared off like you see there. Let me know what you think about that. But I think in this home, even though it's empty, you can tell it is so open concept. That fireplace tile going all the way up to the ceiling is great. That breakfast nook, again, it's the exact look that I think people are trying to get in the back of their home, so their inside of their home feels like the outside of the home. And that's exactly what I'm gonna show you here. And we're gonna head outside, and then I'm excited to show you some of the lots that are available here. So stick with me on this. Now, in this breakfast nook area, keep in mind, breakfast nook because you haven't seen the dining room yet. It is tucked away a little bit away from the living room, but it's its own space. But this breakfast nook feels huge because of all these windows that are here. And what I want you to imagine is, I say it a lot, imagine taking your morning cup of coffee, sitting down right here, and you got windows off the right of your home, you got windows off the left of your home, and everything looks out to this large backyard in the 90-foot wide section of Santa Rita Ranch. And this is what people tell me is their dream of having in their home, is these amazing backyard spaces. Now, these backyards do vary quite a bit. I actually had somebody build the 4197 plan, and they actually backed up to a green belt. So there's big mature trees outside their property line, which is great. That way they don't have to maintain them, and then they get this big usable backyard space, and they absolutely fell in love with what they could do in the backyard. Now, if they're watching, I don't know why they would be. Shout out to them. They moved here from North Carolina, and they loved the idea of building in Santa Rita Ranch because they were new to Austin. They, lived in the Carolinas for a little while, and they didn't know that many people here. And so moving to this area and being in a community that has lots of amenities, many things close by inside the community, schools inside the community, they felt like it was a great place to meet people and just get that community feel fast. And that's what we see in these new build neighborhoods like Santa Rita Ranch that definitely gets people outside their door, meeting people within their community. Now, I'll give you more details on that, but I want to show you that is a gas stub out right there. So this is actually a great area to put a gas stub out. So you can put a grill there. You can make that into an outdoor kitchen. If you build this plan from scratch, you can also put a pre-plumb there for a future sink. I've had a lot of my clients do that. And for most of my clients in that 90-foot wide section that have closed in the last year or two, they absolutely love the backyards. That's what's really drawing them to these types of homes on these lots. Hey, real quick, these are the lots that you can build on at the time I'm recording this video in the new 90-foot wide section right here in Santa Rita Ranch. Take a look at that greenery, nothing but beauty back here. And just so you know where we're at, and I'm gonna make a point here, the home that we're actually in, that we're touring, the second home, is actually right over there. Do you see it? Sorry, I didn't mean to park in the way. But my point in sharing that with you is that entire street going all the way down is 90-foot wide lots. Most of the homes are between 3,300 square feet and 5,000 square feet. This is the new 90-foot wide section in Santa Rita Ranch. So these are all gonna be forever homes as well. The homes back there are on 70-foot wide lots. Similar square footage size, maybe a little bit smaller than this 90-foot wide section. And then all the way down on that area is a new 70-foot wide section. There's a new 60-foot wide section where they build about 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. And this is my whole point in talking about sections. The homestead section has a ton of forever homes. And this is what people value in being in an area, is they want to stay long-term in their home, but they also want their neighbors to stay long-term in their homes so that they can grow together as a community. And if that's important to you, I have some great options that are coming up in the next few months. Go ahead and scan this QR code if you want to connect. What that does is it starts a text message, but you still have to click send. Once you click send, it goes right to my cell phone, and me and my team would love to connect with you based on your needs. If we believe your needs are a better fit for another realtor, we will absolutely send you to that other realtor. We only want to find great realtors who are specialized in your criteria, and understanding that criteria is our #1 goal. All right, hope that helps. Back to the video. Now, one thing I missed, I'll go back out to the front courtyard, but right when we were walking in, one of my clients actually did a fireplace in the front courtyard, and the aesthetic of it looks fantastic, so that when you walk in the front courtyard, you're kind of met with this peaceful fireplace. So even though you don't use it throughout the year, obviously because it's Texas, it's very hot here, it's a very cool design piece. And speaking of design pieces, I want to give you one more look at this fireplace, because even in an empty room, I think this stands out as a fantastic option, especially when you walk in through the front door. I do think it's one of the first things you notice entering this main living area. And also, functionally, we got a floor outlet. I get very excited when I see floor outlets in inventory homes, because if you buy an inventory home and it doesn't have it, it's always wires, or you have those little covers covering a wire in your main living area. It's just not ideal. And I find for some people they really love putting in a floor outlet. And now I think for some builders, they're not skimping on those floor outlets when they build these inventory homes. And if you don't know what an inventory home is, I'll discuss that with you here in a second. But I did want to tell you, this is the primary bedroom. We got a full bathroom obviously attached to it. And one thing I like what they did here is instead of a big curve, they just made it subtle, so it's elegant. And the big curves I've found have an issue sometimes with the blinds. This drywall needs to be cut in like a perfect way. And when you have a curve, you can kind of see the curves sometimes make it inconsistent. And for some people, when they have blinds there, they're very annoyed by it. So I tell my clients, if you're gonna do this, do one of those circular rods and maybe do curtains back here. At least that's what I've had a lot of clients enjoy more. And that way you can just peel those curtains to the side and every day you just look out to this, which is incredible. But I gotta keep going back to those lots. I think when you look at this section and you're gonna be building a potential 4,000 to 5,000 square foot home, then I think building is great as long as you have it within your budget so you can pick all the upgrades that you want. And again, one of those upgrades is going to be upstairs. I can't wait for you to see it. All right, moving along, we have the primary bathroom, which also has some good upgrades in it. I like how they use the frame mirror, which pulls some colors from that countertop, which continues to have a lot of movement in it, which we saw previously in the kitchen. And then we got a walk-in shower that is very open. They ran the tile not only all the way up to the ceiling, but kind of what you see in a model home, which I get a lot of people, they want to do it and then they get the sticker shock when they go to a design studio and they want to put tile all around their bathroom. Well, they did it here, and to get all these upgrades under $1.2 million, I think this is an interesting option, especially when we look at luxury homes around this area. All right, stick with me here because there are things that you can do in this closet, even if you don't like the typical standard shelves and rods that we see here. We also have a study downstairs. We have a separate dining room. This is a very unique plan because that front courtyard kind of creates this center space that separates some areas. So if you really want privacy in your forever home, which we were talking about earlier, you want an open concept, but you still want to get all the private areas in the home that it feels like you don't live on top of each other. You want people staying with you for weeks, for months. Sometimes it's multi-generational living is what you're after. Well, take a look at what's in this plan because we're back at the front courtyard. So that's the front courtyard. Excuse me, we're at the front door. So through there is the front courtyard. We got a study over there. But what I want to get to is the dining room because this is what I mean by feeling unique. I want to give you the visual that I get because obviously with my eyes, I can see all my peripherals. When you get out to this main living area, first off, look at all those windows. It's windows on top of the sliding door, on top of windows, and then everything is framed perfectly with that patio. Like, take a look at that. I think that's such a cool design piece. The stairwell feels like a design piece because of the railings that are there. You can see a study, so I think that that's going to be perfect for like an accent wall or built-in. So just imagine that as a design piece. And then off the right corner of my eye is this. You have a fun inset, so you could put a design piece here or artwork. And then right from the front door, I could see that there was this separate dining area. This is exactly what we talked about previously. Let me know what you think about this. This is more of a dedicated dining area. It is accessible from the kitchen. So I'm gonna rope around here in a second where you can see there is a butler's pantry, which we completely missed, and another pantry area. So I'm actually gonna show you that right now. But let me know what you think about this. I think for some people that do value having that secondary area for dining, this feels a little bit more dedicated, but still feels very open concept. And I think it's very unique because again, that front courtyard does make this plan very different from most floor plans that builders built. Now, it's gonna be the look at that butler's pantry. I think it's great because when you look at this kitchen from right around that patio door, it feels like an endless amount of cabinet space. And then I like how people wanna hide their appliances like their coffee maker, and they can just brew their morning cup of coffee while still getting a lot of the natural light through that window. Now, I missed the pantry area previously, so I'll show it to you here. We also have a lot of cabinetry right behind me for storage. And then between the kitchen and the dining area, You also have your laundry area. And sometimes people would prefer this to be closer to like the primary closet, but hey, there are other plans if you prefer that, where if you don't want to take your laundry throughout your home, then having it closer to the primary closet. There's plenty of plans like the last one that we just saw that can do that. But I think, you are getting a very different plan here with that front courtyard, the studies over there, and I'm glad they didn't take space from the study to put the utility room over there. I think for here, if you're worried about people seeing it, obviously you can just close that door. And if you think that noise is not ideal on a plan like this, then again, there are other plans that you can do. Like I have a client who built the 3917 plan. I had a client build the 4931 plan. I've done a 4891. All these names are just the approximate square footage. So I've done a lot between 4,000 to 5,000 square foot homes. And I find with Perry, they have a ton of options for floor plans. And as we get to the secondary bedroom that has an en-suite full bathroom, we also got a powder bathroom outside of here. We also got a side entrance garage I'll show you in a second. And then I can't wait for you to see the upstairs. That's actually the next topic I want to get into. A lot of people ask me, well, what floor plan is best for them? And then they ask a good question. They say, well, what should I be looking for when I talk to builder, or when I'm looking at an option with a builder? What should I be looking for? And I think that that's a great question, especially when you're looking to buy your forever home. And one of my answers that I don't think people focus in on is, what are the floor plans that builders offering that get built in the community that you're looking at? Sometimes the answer to that question is the builder has one plan that's popular and everybody wants to build that plan. And the builder builds it over and over and over and over again. And at resale, when you go to resell that home 5 years from now or 7 years from now, whenever it is, chances are there will be multiple of that floor plan also for sale. So that really hurts you at future resale because you have nothing unique that you're offering. In fact, there's just an increase of supply for the exact floor plan that you're trying to sell. And that's a problem not only for future resale, but I also get clients that tell me, they want to be in a neighborhood where they feel like the homes are unique from each other. So that's why I like touring these master plan communities that do stuff like this, like a front courtyard. There's another builder in this community. They do a separate house outside the house, which I think is very cool. There's just unique things, and there's multiple builders. So these builders do feel different from each other. And I think in Santa Rita, there's at any given point, like 10 to 14 builders actively building in this community. So you get a lot of variance, which is good. The issue though is when you have a section of, let's say, 40 lots, and 15 of those 40 lots are all the same home, and you live in that community, you go to your neighbor's house, and your neighbor has the same floor plan as you. Then you go to your other neighbor's house, they have the same floor plan as you. And lo and behold, 6 of the 12 lots on your street all have the same plan. That does get annoying. And I've gotten some communities where you're allowed to build 2 doors from each other, the same floor plan, where if that happens because the builder doesn't offer a good enough amount of options, that can start to feel a little bit weird. At least that's the feedback that I've gotten from plenty of people. And that's why I like touring homes with builders like this, like Perry, where I think I see more of a variance of floor plans, and the floor plans do feel unique from each other. Now that uniqueness continues here in the study, where you got double doors leading into the study with the glass insert, but you also have a separate exit to get out of your study into the front courtyard. You also have an access way to the other garage. Again, it was a 3-car garage, but a side entrance and then a separate garage over there. And then, by the way, my client's fireplace was right around here. So as soon as you curled around the corner, if I recall it correctly, they closed 1.5 years ago. So it's been a second since I toured their house, but I believe the fireplace was right here, or it was on one of these walls. Okay, now I am actually second guessing myself. And so either way, I think it was a really fun accent piece for that front courtyard. So when you walk in, it's this big epic fireplace. And I have a video of it. So if you need a video, I'm sure my clients wouldn't mind me sharing a video while the home was under construction. And I think that fireplace came out really well. Again, it's also very unique. All right, let's head upstairs, and I'm excited to show you the upgrade that my clients did when they built a very similar plan to this. They built the 4197 plan. This is the 4198 plan. there are similarities between those two plans, but one of the things that they loved about it was this big loft area. And so this loft area felt very open to the main living area. So when kids are upstairs, they can hang out right here, and it still feels like you're in a similar space to each other. It still feels very open concept. It's not closed off. It's got a ton of windows, as you can see here. But what I think really makes this plan stand out is right here, and that is the media room. The media room has an option for a second floor balcony right around this area. And I think that would be very cool on a lot that backs up to greenery, or if you just like second floor balconies, you can certainly do that, plant landscaping in the back. But I'm gonna keep talking about backing up to greenery because the lots that I featured earlier are actually right over there. Do you recognize that? Fantastic. Obviously there will be some homes back in this area. There's actually a cul-de-sac behind this home, which you see there. So there will be homes around the back of this one, but if you really value that green space, I'm telling you, backing up to green space, putting in a second floor balcony, I can't tell you how many times I've had people walk out to their second floor balcony while their home's under construction, and they just take a deep breath. They say, this brings them peace. And I say it often in my videos because that's what I want for you. That's what I've seen over the last 4.5 years of posting on YouTube and getting people who are looking at moving to the Austin, Texas metro, but they don't know what their options look like. And I've just continued to showcase those options. And most importantly, showcase these great open concept homes, some that back up to green belts. And it's such a special feeling when they come to the back of their home, they look out the window, and they just absolutely fall in love with the home that they're building. And I've seen that time and time again. And if I ever am very passionate in these videos, which I hope that comes off, I get still excited going through these homes, knowing that there's people out there that want these open concept homes back in the greenery, and they don't realize that you can do this right in the middle of Texas. And that's why I love continuing to come out to areas like this that are very livable, where I get a lot of great positive feedback. Okay, we got a few more bedrooms upstairs. We got 3 bedrooms upstairs, 2 bedrooms down. Again, it was a 5-bedroom, 4.5 bathroom home. This one has a full bathroom right outside of it through the hallway, so guests could use it, or whoever's staying in this bedroom could also use it. I'll go back to the wall bed or Murphy bed that you could do in that 5th bedroom. So if you wanted that as a separate space, just to hang out, you could do that. I actually have clients who have 3 kids, and what they like is one of the kids is older, and they like the media room. Sometimes they like playing video games. Sometimes they like taking over that media room. And the 2 younger kids want like a separate area. So they actually use this as a Murphy bed, where the bed just kind of hangs out here through strong magnets. And then they have this as their own separate play area. That way, all their toys of their 2 younger ones are not out here or falling down the ledge or something like that. So there's so many things that you can do in these homes. Once you know how other people have used them, you get ideas. And that's why I keep talking about them in these videos. What I want to get back to, though, is this section that we're in. So we are in the homestead section. And in this homestead section, they built a brand new amenity center, or at least new at the time I'm recording this video. And they already had great amenity centers here. Here in Santa Rita Ranch, they had one amenity center that had slides on it, that's got an outdoor gym. Anytime I had clients reach out to me through YouTube over the years that were looking at communities, I never really showed amenity centers except that one. And I would show it all the time because it was amazing. There was nothing else like that. Here's what's funny. That amenity center was already big. It was called, it's in Santa Rita Ranch North, and that was on 4 acres. But the newest amenity center, they built it on 8 acres. They put in 3 pools, they put in all sorts of stuff. They got pickleball going in there. Now they have a multi-million-dollar play area that they're putting in that's gonna have, I believe, zip lines on it. That's at least what I've seen in the last announcement. Obviously double check these things because sometimes things can change, but I've seen one thing not change, and that is Santa Rita over the years. They don't have to keep doubling down with all these upgrades, but they keep doing it in their community to make it better and better and better. And I love seeing that in a community. Also close by to this home is an elementary school inside the neighborhood. as well as a middle school inside the neighborhood. And then they're building a high school outside the neighborhood, a little bit further away, closer to the highway, which I think is smart. Having a high school inside the neighborhood, I've found, is really tough for livability. Then you get a bunch of teenagers who are driving around, and I'm not ragging on teenagers. Once upon a time, I was a teenager who just got their license and I drove like an idiot. I'll just say it what it is, right? Like I didn't drive well because, you know, I almost felt like it was a toy, and I was, you know, like most kids, irresponsible, right? And I don't like seeing that inside a neighborhood, especially when kids are playing. And that's why I think strategically, they really plan this community well, where you have that high school a little bit in the close by, but far enough away where you don't have a ton of traffic inside the neighborhood. Also, you have great plans for businesses that are coming just south of this community off of the 29 Ronald Reagan Boulevard corridor. And those businesses are doing really well. I think that's attracting even more businesses. And I love grabbing tacos, or there's an Asian restaurant there. There's so many things there. And I find so many people love living out in this community because now it's developed to be this fantastic community with amenities inside the neighborhood, schools inside the neighborhood, and then businesses close by right outside of it. All right, I hope this helped with this walkthrough of these 2 homes built by Perry. If you need any help with this, go ahead and click on the link at the bottom of the description of this video, and that will go to my calendar. And if you want to talk about options, you want to talk about inventory homes that are here, or maybe you're looking at about a year from now in these communities, let me know, because there are different options that we can look at that will help you plan ahead so that you're not scrambling at the last second when that time comes up. And I can start getting you options so you at least get a feel for what the market looks like and what options look like for your price point and your criteria. Now, if you want to see another home built by Perry, go ahead and click on this side of your screen, and I'll show you one of my clients that actually built with Perry inside this neighborhood. And then also, if you want to get on a newsletter that shows you lots that are coming up months from now, that's gonna be at the link at the top of the description of this video. All right, I hope this helps. Take care, everyone.